Okay, today I'm putting the pipe in, or the first line of pipe. You can see I finished the ditch. Wow, I'm about to break my neck here. I finished digging the ditch, the main ditch I should say. And what I decided to do, I was going to get a lot fancier than this, but what I decided to do with this line is I found what I consider to be a neutral point. And I buried the pipe there at a certain level. And I'm going to use that point, what I consider my neutral point, to measure grade up the hill and measure grade down the hill. And currently my plan is to have about a 1/2 inch drop per foot. So every 6 feet it's going to drop 3 inches. And that's the plan, and that's how it looks right now. Now, also up here at the top, I've got to dig out a little bit more. I wanted to get a little deeper here, especially where I was digging sideways with the trencher. In order to do that, I need this other dirt out of the way so I can get over here with the trencher safely. So what I plan to do is grade the center of this, or the middle portion of this, before moving the pipe out of the way up here at this end, pushing it up out of the way and getting the digger back over here and digging the trench a little better up here to the top of the hill. But for the time being, I'm going to level the middle section. Now this would be a drain line for the top of the yard. Now I'm putting an additional drain line in the same ditch because the plan is to put a roof on this porch, and I'm going to have two gutter, and I'm going to have 2 downspouts that come down, and I'm going to trench out to this ditch, and I'm going to run again solid line out to here from 2 places on the porch, so that the roof runoff can go underneath here too. The whole goal, I've stated before, is to make sure the only rain that we have to deal with on the patio is the rain that hits the patio. The patio will have a slight grade so it can run off, but all this water from the hill in the house, I didn't want it running across and standing on the patio. I figure my pavers will set level a lot longer if they don't have water flooding them every time we have rain. Now my tool I put together for doing my grading is actually a 6-foot level, and I've got a block of wood clamped to the end at 3 inches, so it sticks out 3 inches. So I'm getting my 3 inches for 6 foot, or 1/2 inch per foot of grade, and I just use this, set it on the pipe, of course downhill that way, and when I read level on the bubble, it means that the pipe's where I need it to be for that 6-foot length. So that's basically the process, and at this point I have the lower level of the pipe mostly buried. Now between here and the end, I didn't dig deep enough with the trencher. I should have marked off some posts before I dug. So I'm gonna have to pull this back in here and go down a few more inches through this section here. Before I do, to make digging easier, I may go ahead and use a tractor to pull dirt back into this temporary ditch I dug a few weeks ago for the time being, so that I've got a smooth area to get the digger around. So coming right along. But there's always a little bit of manual labor involved. Here's how I'm leaving it for the night. I do have the PEX line, but I'm planning underground for my irrigation water up here. PEX is in the hole. The second downspout pipe that's coming down the hole is entering up here. I marked the ground with yellow paint. Hopefully it's not too dark for you to see because the sun has gone down. But this will lay on top of the other pipe. I'll get the rest of this PEX straightened out and secured. And I'm putting some underground 14-2 wire as well, just to put some outdoor lighting up here. And once I get that in, I can cover most of the ditch up. That way I can get back over with the trencher and dig the trench for the other line, even though the rest of it will be buried. And that's what's slated for tomorrow. Well, that was a hell of a day's work. But I think I've got it done. I'm at a point where I'm happy with it. Still got a lot of work to do. Got most of the pipe in the ground. Okay, it's day 2, and honestly, I'm not doing any digging today because I'm really quite sore from yesterday. But we've got all the utilities in place. I've got the blue PEX line. I've got the gray 14-2 underground wire in place, and I've got the drain line for the downspout in on top of the old, or the lower drain line. And I've got to untangle everything at the other end. But for right now, I'm pleased to say I can cover up a good portion of this ditch because I'm quite tired of stepping over it. So that's what I'm doing now. Well, I'm coming up on the end of my weekend, and honestly it'll be good to get back to work to get some rest. But the pipe is buried. Here's the drain off the corner of the porch. That's buried and tied in, and the whole line is buried, and it's really good to see this trench covered up. Again, one of my next projects, I may or may not film, but I've got to get more of this dirt out of the way because this hill is going back anyway. I'm going to have to get some of that dirt out of the way so that I have the width to get the trencher in here, because I want to dig the other end a little bit deeper. But the next real project up here will be finishing getting this grade lower at this corner, and this will be the first phase of the yard completed. I've got to put my gravel bed and perf line up here at the bottom of what the face of where the retaining wall will be. But for now, the pipe's all in except for, again, just the last few feet of it up here to the hill. Again, I've got my PEX plumbing line, and I've got my electrical tied to a cinder block up here so I wouldn't lose it in the pit. And the other portion of the yard is sealed up, zippered up, zipped, finished for the weekend. So I'm kind of sore and I'm ready to call it quits. So I hope you have a good evening. I'm done here.